So probably won't be too long. Just went ahead and started it. Ace, what's up? Welcome. Maybe we'll get some stragglers just kind of throughout. But again, wanted to kind of go over, and I'm sure more people are probably going to watch the VOD, if anything. And again, we'll keep tinkering with the times. I know before when I was, man, we used to do, it's so interesting because we used to do meetings on Tuesdays in the morning. Well, morning I should say, my time. I was around 12, somewhere between like 13, 14 UTC, which for me was 7. I think it was like 8 or 9 in the morning. And that was afternoon for kind of UK, European time, and then for if you lived in around Japan, China area, it was I think 8 or 9 in the evening, something like that, 9 in the evening, give or take. So I always thought that was interesting how that somewhat worked, and again, we'll keep tinkering with it. I think another big part too as well, at least just kind of when it comes to general attendance, is we haven't necessarily announced a sixth lead yet, so I'm sure that is a factor as far as the project itself being 100% ready to start kind of pulling our true preparation trigger. With that in mind, again, like I said, I don't necessarily foresee the meeting lasting too long unless there's a abundance or a lot of questions. Let me just kind of start top down with the overview. At the moment is that we are, again, still at 5 leads. We're still constantly recruiting. If you notice, there's still quite a few amount of players that are still joining the Discord. And again, that's nice to see when it comes to that general level of activity and new players that are coming in to take a look. From there, again, still getting applications, whether it be kind of one a day or one every other day for an R5 lead spot. I haven't checked today if there might be any new ones that have been in. I know there was, I think as of a day or two ago, I think 1 or 2 ones that I'm still going through and reviewing. So again, maybe one will turn out from there, but again, I always like to set good expectations, which is for our project, it's more of a marathon, not a race. The whole idea on really for the most part, why the project itself has taken months at this point of preparation when we honestly probably could have started, well, arguably months ago, is the difference between. I don't know if any of you guys have seen that movie Yes Man with Jim Carrey, where he kind of does this test and basically he just for the entire day says yes to everything, regardless of what someone asks him or something for him to do. And the challenge is that we just don't want to essentially be that where we just kind of say yes to anyone who applies to be a lead. We want to try and have some standards and expectations and goals in mind that we uphold, not only for the project, but for the people that are going to end up being in management and more specifically leadership. So again, just something to consider and to think about when it comes to the patience and I'd argue the resilience that we've had so far. And again, I'm happy at least with the 5 that we have now. I think after having an opportunity to read everyone's application, take time to interview with them, and speak to them on voice chat, really making sure they have a good understanding of the project, at least at an entry level, is nice. And knowing that they're on board and kind of more so seeing eye to eye with what this project brings compared to others. I also think it's a nice testament with how long the leads have stuck around, with I think us only really having to replace one that decided to start a project earlier, just because they wanted to kind of take up more of a leadership role and not just go and play as a member. So I think with the amount of officers and leaders and even a quality, I'd say a good amount of players that are still here in the Discord, hopefully speaks to the quality of the project, regardless of how many people may show up for a voice call or not. I know there's a lot of factors that go into that, whether it be timing, day availability, general availability. It's one of the reasons why we like to try and test a couple different starting times so we can try and eventually find a nice sweet spot. With that in mind, that kind of, I want to say really is more so the overview. There's obviously not a hard start time when it comes to when we will go. Once we announce a 6th leader and we start, basically what will happen from here is like we'll announce the 6th lead. We will refresh the sign-off channel. So that way players will have to react to the sign-off channel that they are, here. And of course also as a reason to choose, or sorry, as a reason to choose their region in addition. So hopefully that will be a nice, accurate indication of how many people we have that are, as at least at a soft gauge, looking to still jump with us. And so we'll do that, probably let that go a couple days, up to a week at the most, while we essentially start getting the management team more structured, the officers and leads. If they have to get their individual discords for their alliances set up, we'll start announcing more things to the group as well, as far as general timelines, what the next steps are going to be, what's coming up prior to us jumping. Start making sure that players are briefed and aware of the available resources that they have. So if they need to do some additional studying or once again refreshing, right, they can really take advantage and do that during that time. So again, that's kind of how, at least what I'm hoping the next potential few weeks might look like. And again, I'd love to be able to, of course, I'm sure a lead could potentially walk in tomorrow or even today with, an application and it looks good. And then, we kind of go through that process. So, the nice thing about being at 5 is that, we're only one away from being able to pull the trigger on our readiness. Oops, sorry, sweetie. So yeah, from there, I think that for the most part, let me just see what else I have on my announcement. And then, if there's any questions or anything, I'll open the floor. But like I said, there's only a few of you, so I'm not anticipating for this to be that long of a meeting. But let me see. So we did status overview, went over a little bit of the window, timeline, preparation. I know I talked a little bit about that prior to the jump. Again, we have great resources, and whether you go to the Jump Resources channel, and or if you just read any of the recent announcements that go over kind of the steps to take that you can. Home Kingdom conduct, really that's kind of a simple one. It still might be a little early to really touch on that, but the base approach is just really, when we're in our home kingdom after landing post final jump, that we just have good conduct in general for how we treat others, especially those that are not in our group. Obviously within our group, and I guess you could argue not in our group, should go without saying regardless. But one of the challenges is that when you have a group and you're going into a kingdom, it can easily become a them versus us scenario. And that's just something important to take account of, is that every player that's in a project, kind of like you're on a team, right? You're on a sports team or something, you are a representative of that team. And just as much as being a player in a group or a project, right, you are by extension a representative of that group / project. So it's important to, make sure that you are conducting yourself appropriately and just kind of going off of the easy approach, which is, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. If there's certain borderline conversations or things that you think are maybe more appropriate for kind of, one-on-one conversations, that's probably a good eye on having those rather than in public or in, I should say, public chat. But yeah, just treat others how you want to be treated, very, very easy enough. And then let me see, KVK approaches is, what do I have for that here? So for, and again, just briefly touching on that, KVK approaches really is just more of, right, our kind of goal going in to KVK with, again, trying to have, as many active alliances as we can possibly. The whole idea of this project is to be different, right? To test things, to try things out differently that, aren't necessarily being done right now in the space, especially in other kingdoms with more traditional, that's probably a good word to use, traditional approaches. And again, right, kind of innovating, pushing the boundary in areas where we're able to is, a big enjoyment of mine, right? I love trial and error. I love testing things. I like doing things differently than what other kingdoms may or may not have done. So there will be some of that when we go into KVK. Again, hoping that the group makes it that far. But yeah, and again, that's more of just a very simple, broad, and vague general overview. Again, just because there's not too many people here, so I don't want to go extremely in-depth. And obviously, once we get ready and we start getting to a point where we're going to jump, I'm sure those questions and details will be more prevalent at that time. With this being said, we're actually right at 10 minutes, which I'm shocked to be even. Again, there's only a few of you here. So, like I said, Bentro, Creeper, and Patty. Well, first and foremost, thanks for taking some time out of your day. I'll just go down the list. Like I said, if this is just kind of the open floor portion. If you have any questions at all, whether you want to voice it, you want to type it out in the Jump VC chat, please feel free. And again, if you don't have a question or you don't want to say anything, again, feel free to nod as well. No pressure. This is just more so if you'd like to. And again, I'll just call on you one by one, going top down, and I'll wait a couple seconds. If I don't hear anything, I'll just move on to the next person. So Bentro?
I don't really have any questions at this time, and I think as the project progresses, I will get the answers to most of my questions. So there's nothing really pressing I need to ask.
Okay, awesome. Well, always nice to hear another friendly voice, so thanks for voicing the response. Appreciate you. Creeper. What is it? Oh, you just want to eat my finger. How lovely. All right. No worries, Creep. Patty. Ooh. Let me see. Sorry. Patty says, are you going to send a ping once the final kingdom is open? Yes. So, sorry. Are you asking as far as, like, when we need to do the jump to the final kingdom to alert players that it is open and they need to go before the cap is hit? Is that what you're asking? Okay. Yes. Short answer is yes, we will be doing that. One of the things we actually do that was suggested to me by another member before, I thought it was a really good idea, where we'll do one big ping to let everyone know when it happens. I'm not a fan of sometimes if I'm hanging around or if I'm lingering in jump discords, just because I do reviews on projects. So sometimes if I just haven't left all of them, when they jump, I'll notice that they are doing just a lot of pings. And it is somewhat annoying. So the approach we've taken the last couple times is we do one general ping when it opens, and then we do a toggle roll. So that way, if people would like to get multiple pings, that could happen every 10 to 15 minutes or every 30 minutes, and they're okay with getting multiple pings, then they can react to that roll, and it'll give them a temporary roll, and that's just so they're getting constant alerts, and also updates, right? So if you want updates, so it's kind of twofold. One, it serves as you getting an update, and then the other side of it is it also serves as, it serves as you getting a friendly reminder that hey, the kingdom's open, but also a status update that the cap has not been hit yet, right? So that means you can still join. We'll do that, and then typically what will happen is people will some people will react to that. They'll join, then they'll unreact, so the roll is taken off. And it's just a nice way for them to get a couple extra pings and also to get a nice status update more frequently. I'm not big on pinging the server more than I need to. So even though over the past 24 hours it probably felt like there was a couple pings or more so than we usually do, that is kind of on purpose because, of, again, making the announcement, letting people know what the time is going to be. I tend to like to kind of ping the server every couple months when it comes, just so people are aware of reacting to certain roles. You'd be surprised how many people will join the Discord, but not select a role and just kind of wonder, why is the Discord empty, so to speak. So I like to do those every periodically. But yeah, sorry. That's the short answer for the question. Thought I didn't have some water for a sec. All right. Well, let me see. We're at almost 15 minutes now. I'll just do a general open floor now. So, and again, just with the three of you, but as a general open floor, any other questions that you might have. And again, you can rapid fire, you can shoot them off. Doesn't matter how many. Feel free if you would like. And if not, no worries. Like I said, what is it? Being a little loud today. Oh, here, you want some more? Are you still hungry? Oh, look at that. We're still drinking? Killer. Let's see here. Oh. Oops, sorry. Let me tilt that up there for you, killer. Okay. Well, if there are no other questions, then again, this will probably sum up this one. I think next meeting we'll probably try for 19 UTC, which will be an hour later. Again, assuming that Sunday is still the high volume day, and we'll see if we might be able to find a more ideal time there. I may also consider, which may help, I may also consider doing a form because I was just thinking about this as well, that if I did a Google form and then I asked 7 questions for each day of the week, I can put more options on there than I can reactions on here. So that might be the thing that we'll do next, is instead of having the poll, I might just make a quick availability or attendance availability Google form that I think might help, hopefully, in figuring out what an ideal time is. So, and then that way it also I think also that way it'll open up more of the week, so it won't just be limited to Sundays or Mondays, which I have been. Maybe more people are available on a Friday or Saturday that are willing to tune in or to join. It's probably the better one to use. Yeah. So, anyways, obviously, a big thank you to the 3 of you for coming in, for tuning in and stopping by. I do appreciate. Again, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording now.